Good morning and welcome back to another video. This video is going to be about just a random day in our life. I had managed that morning, this is a few days later, so that morning I had managed to wake up before my kids. It was a rare morning. I've been struggling with getting a morning routine going. I'll be showing a video soon about how I'm going to work through that and what I'm going to do with that. But for this day that I'm going to show you, I had woke up early, I got some quiet time in, and then I was quietly working downstairs on editing. So by the time my littles woke up and they were ready to roll, I already had a little bit of mom time in and I was ready to get the day going with them. We are a homeschooling family of 3, but we are on summer break during this video, so you'll see we don't really do any school at all and we just kind of get a lot done. So thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoy the video. We are going to make some jello with the kiddos. This will be our first time making homemade jello, but it seems simple enough. My daughter loves jello, so does my baby, he says. So he's not a baby, he's 6, but you know. The things that we are going to need is gelatin, honey in case the juice isn't sweet enough, and then juice. We picked up this Santa Cruz organic blueberry lemonade. And then we're just going to put it in. I believe that's all we need. Let me just double check. But we're going to put this in and make jello and see how it comes out. Okay, so first thing we need 2 cups. Two cups of juice. You want to pour it in, Mom? So pick it up careful and then gently pour it in. Okay, and then we are going to put this on low. So now it's a little warm. We're going to pour in the 2 tablespoons of gelatin. Got it all in there? Okay, now take your spoon and spin it, turn it around so it'll dissolve. Careful because the pot's warm, okay?
I feel it already turning into jello. That's going for?
You're going to pour it in, but you're going to be very careful and pour it slowly. And wait, listen, this is hot, so we're going to be very gentle next to it, okay? Slow. Yeah. Got it? Good job. Good pouring. You're doing it. Yeah. And then, whoop. There you go. Thank you.
Can I have a drink of that?
Hold on, please. So then we're going to stir it, and then I'm going to give you a little taste, and you're going to tell me if it's sweet enough, okay?
Okay. It's done.
It's good? Sweet enough? All right, so now we're going to pour it into our container. We're going to put it in this glass meal prep container I have. I'm just going to pour it in. If you have like silicone molds, 2 smaller ones, you can pour it in there. I may have to do 2 of these, but let's see. Okay, so I ended up using 2 containers, and then that's how, I don't know if you can tell how thick it is. I'm going to put the lids on and put them in the fridge. You could use saran wrap too if you wanted to, but since we have lids, we're just going to go ahead and use this and save a little plastic. And then I'm going to put them in the fridge, and hopefully they'll be done by lunchtime. Okay, I went to put the jello in the fridge, and I have to kind of go through our refrigerator. We have been throwing stuff in. On the weekends, things just kind of get thrown in there. So what I'm going to do first is kind of clear out a couple of things. I've already started. I have some pizza sauce that's been in here, so I'm going to put this in containers and freeze it so it doesn't go bad. And then I have some leftover of shepherd's pie mix that we made. It kind of got all thrown in here, so now it's kind of just like a sweet potato ground turkey mix. We made the shepherd's pie with sweet potatoes instead of white potatoes or russet potatoes. So I'm actually going to take some of this, and my husband, when he saw the bell peppers, I had originally purchased these with intent to dice them or cut them up and freeze them. but he saw them and they looked really good to him, so he was like, can we make some stuffed peppers? I don't think that my kiddos, that's a meal that they would enjoy, so I'm going to just make like 1 or 2 stuffed peppers for my husband and I, and then freeze them for a meal prep for us. We have a tiny bit of, or like just a half a container of the honey mustard chicken that's left over. I'm going to check with my son first to see if he wants to eat this. If he does not want to eat this, then I'm going to add a starch and some veggies to it and make seal it, and then use this for another meal prep. And then in here is just the very last of the buffalo cauliflower, and that too I'll figure out something to add with it and make another meal prep from it. So this is how I typically clean my refrigerator. I pull things out, see what can be saved. If I can put odds and ends together and make a meal prep from it, I will saran wrap it over and stick it in the freezer, and then we can have it like next week or 2 weeks from now, and that way it doesn't feel like you're having leftovers all the time. It kind of just shuffles in. And then we have a few leftover blueberry muffins and peanut butter and jelly baked oats. So I'm just going to leave this out for my kiddos and see if they want that. Some of them have already had yogurt this morning, but they might also want some tasty treat too. So if they want me, I'll just warm those. If they want to eat these, I'll just give them a little warm up. So you've probably seen this on a couple of my other videos, but what I do is just, I love these silicone things. That's just the leftover pizza sauce. And we had 2 different containers in the fridge. That's why the color variation. We like to put veggies in here to kind of, just to help us eat our veggies. And so I'm just going to put them in here. I have it on just a plastic cutting board that I have, and I'm going to put it in the freezer like this. The reason I have it on the plastic cutting board is because it can get kind of wobbly. But I'm going to put it in like this. You can cover it and freeze it if you want to. I typically don't. I just go ahead and stick it in the freezer like that. And then when they're done, I pop them out and put them in a baggie. And then we have smaller amounts of pizza sauce to pop out if we need it. So I'm going to throw these in the freezer and keep going. Okay, so here's what I've pulled out. This is broccoli slaw that we have purchased. We're going to use some of this for dinner tonight, and then I'm going to transfer it into either a glass jar with a like a paper towel or a napkin to kind of help soak up the moisture, because once the bag is open, it tends to go pretty quickly. So we're going to have some with dinner tonight. We're going to have like a shrimp rice bowl, and then this will be like the crunch for it. And then we're going to have spring rolls hopefully on Saturday afternoon, so I really want it to last till Saturday afternoon. So like I said, that's what I'll do to make it last until Saturday, and fingers crossed that'll work. This celery, as you can see, parts of it have had better days. That's our air fryer toaster oven going. My son's warming up muffins. So I'm going to just cut off the really gross parts, and the rest of it I'm going to throw in a bag, a Ziploc bag we have in our freezer, and that is for veggie broth that we make. And I'm also going to throw these broccoli stems in there too. I had cut them and saved them with the intention of putting them through the food processor and kind of ricing them, but I didn't get to it fast enough, and I have another thing of broccoli here. So I'm going to put these, I'm going to put this in for the veggie broth, and then parts of this as well, and that will get saved. This is going to be for dinner tonight, and then after we get our dinner prep out, I'll go ahead and portion out the rest. I'm going to wash these, and then what I've decided is I am going to stuff like maybe 1 or 2 of them, depending how many I get done, with this sweet potato turkey mix, and then I'm going to serve it to him with the I know it's a lot of flavors, but I don't think he's really going to mind. I'm going to serve it with the cauliflower, the buffalo cauliflower, and then I'm going to put it in the freezer. I'm not going to pre-cook these for him, only because my husband and I both like it when it still has a little crunch to it. So what will happen is I will freeze it in this container. The stuff, probably not this glass one because it's pretty shallow compared to the other plastic meal prep containers we have, but I'm going to freeze them, and then that way when he puts it back in his Hot Logic, which is just like a mini warmer, because it'll be frozen, it'll kind of steam it as well as when it's cooking, and I think that'll be enough to cook it enough for us, because like I said, we like to have a little crunch to it. So the only things that are left is some sourdough pancakes I had made previously. I'm going to see, I threw them all in here, and then this is what happens when it gets thrown to the back of my fridge. I forgot I had them, and they're thin, but they're delicious. So this was sourdough discard pancakes that I had made, and they're kind of sticking together, so when I'm pulling them off, they're breaking in pieces. I'm going to go ahead and put these in the freezer. I'm going to see as they kind of sit on the counter here for a little bit and get to room temp if they'll separate better for me without ripping. And then I'll put like a parchment paper or a wax sheet of paper in. Look at me. I'm like, I'm going to wait. No, I'm not. I'm impatient. I'm going to keep trying to do it now. Anyways, I'm going to put it in a wax sheet, either a wax sheet or a parchment sheet, and then put it in the freezer like that. So that will get saved into the freezer and be a good freezer breakfast for me. I have one tomato here. I bet you if I just cut it up with lunch, my kids will eat that. The broccoli, I have to check my menu plan because I'm not sure what I have planned for the broccoli, but I'm going to wash it, cut up the stems, and then put it in. We have this. We're going to, we have these green containers, and I really want to look for more. We used to have bags too, but the green container, something about it, I'll link it if I can find some down below, but it's supposed to help keep things like your veggies and greens crisper longer. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it just because it's kind of starting to look sad already, and I don't want it to die out on me. And then I'm going to put it in here and see if I can make that last a little longer. These carrots, we have some other baby carrots in here, but these ones are looking shabbier than the other ones. So I'm actually going to run these through the food processor and then make shredded carrots and put them in the freezer. I could also use it for the veggie broth, but I'm going to shred them and put it in the freezer that way. So then we make these Greek yogurt carrot muffins sometimes, and then just having the carrots pre-shredded will help. So throw that in there. These are hard-boiled eggs. I'm probably going to have one or two for breakfast this morning. Then I'm going to go ahead and peel them. I'm going to see if my daughter wants one too because she likes hard-boiled eggs. I'm going to peel them so they're ready to roll, and we may actually eat them faster that way, but I just did that like a day or two ago, so they'll still be good. And then this is a cabbage. I know this is for one of our dinners too. I think I actually got it to lengthen the life of the broccoli slaw, but cabbage stays well in the fridge for a while. Anyways, this is black beans that I had made. We're going to use some for dinner tonight. So I will leave this one in the fridge for tonight, and then this one I will probably portion out into instead of in the jar, because I don't have too many jars right now. I'm going to put it in a plastic bag and put it in the freezer, and then we'll have cooked beans to go. One of the last things is we went out for lunch. We treated ourselves after our Jure pickup. If you want to see our first ever haul from Jure, I'll link that video too. But my husband likes to have Arnold Palmer's, which is just half tea, half iced tea, half lemonade. So I'm going to put this in a jar so it'll stay a little bit longer for him. And then we have some sun tea in the fridge already. And then I also found tomato paste, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the pizza sauce. Put that in like a silicone container, pop it in the freezer, and then save it like that. And then these are just the breads that I pulled out. I might throw this one. We didn't end up eating. We had on the meal plan sandwiches, but we ended up having, I think, something else that night. So I'm going to put this in the freezer because this one's not open. And then I have another one that is open, and this one will just go back in the fridge to extend the life of it. And then I think that'll be it. So let's get started with that. Here's his meal prep. I went ahead and just sliced this in half, and then I kind of made sure that the lid would go on, and it does. I had some half brown rice, half quinoa that was in the freezer, so I added a little bit of that too, just for a little bit more filling stuff for him. And then that is the buffalo cauliflower that we smoked on the grill, so it adds really good flavor. And then the sweet potatoes that are in here too were actually put on the smoker on the grill too. So I think it'll be really tasty. I'm going to snap a quick picture for him so that he can see what it is, and then I'm going to put it in the freezer and label it. But that way he at least knows like what's involved when he pulls the freezer meal out, and he's like, stuffed pepper, what madness is this? So he'll know what it is. Yes. What creation has... I went ahead and I made a meal for myself too. I took out my scale and measured it because, you know, I have one good week counting my macros and then 1 week where I don't care. So hopefully this will go for the 1 week I'm good on. And then I just kind of, as I was preparing it, we have a little whiteboard on our refrigerator, and I just marked on the whiteboard really quickly what the grams were for each thing that I put in here. And then later when I have a little bit more time, I'll go ahead and put it in MyFitnessPal, which is where I track my macros. And then I also, you'll see, I used the same glass container that had the buffalo cauliflower in it, because that buffalo sauce, that little bit of that was left in there, I like buffalo sauce, so I'm not even gonna mind that it's on the bottom of my cauliflower rice. So mine is cauliflower rice, and then the shepherd pie in the bell pepper. The only reason I used cauliflower rice instead of the brown rice and quinoa mix is because I have a hard time getting veggies in, and I'm just trying to get more veggies in this way. I do like my carbs. I do have a fairly decent amount of carb count in my macros, but that's why I went that way. But this would also be good if you were trying, if you didn't have the sweet potatoes, maybe if you were trying to do a low carb one. So that's gonna go in the freezer too. Okay, so here's my beans. I ended up putting them in 2 bags, and then I only measured them because I wanted to see approximately like how much comes in a can, and it's about 15 ounces in our can of beans. So each one turned out to be, I think this one is actually 16 ounces, but meh, close enough. So I'm gonna put these in the freezer. I'm gonna do them flat so that they can thaw quicker when it's time to thaw them out. And then we've saved the black beans from going bad in the fridge, and I have 2 cans in a bag of black beans cooked and ready to roll. So here's the bag that I have started. It just has some celery already in it. I'm going to put the scraps in and keep it in the freezer so when we make broth. Okay, change of plans. I went ahead and chopped up the broccoli, but it's a little softer than I wanted. And then when I checked my meal plan for the rest of the week, I think the only thing I wanted it for was a pasta salad that we were gonna do. But I'm gonna go ahead and see if it'll fit this way in the freezer and freeze it, and then just put it in a bag, and then that way we have frozen broccoli whenever we need it, just so I can save it, because I would hate to put it away in the fridge and then lose it. So I'm gonna just get that in the freezer too, and then I'm gonna get to chopping these. I'm gonna figure out what I want to do with this, if I want to just freeze it like that, or if I have any other sides to make a complete meal. And I think that's it. Oh no, and then the carrots. I'm gonna shred up my carrots, and the pancakes are hiding here. So let's get to it. As you can see, I just hit pulse a few times and let it run, and now it's kind of giving me this like broccoli rice, and like, you know, instead of cauliflower rice, now I have broccoli rice. And this is from the stems of the broccoli. The stems have a lot of the nutrients and stuff in there too, the good stuff in there. And so I'm just gonna put this in a little baggie, and then I have some broccoli rice, and I don't know what it is about making it this teeny tiny space, but it's a little bit easier to eat that way. And like I said, we're just trying to up our veggie contents here. Larger pieces in the lid here that weren't quite shredded all the way. These are, but there were some big chunks there, and I just went ahead and threw that instead of wasting it into the veggie bag, veggie scraps bag here for the broth. And that way that'll go in with our veggie broth bag as well. And then as you can see, it shredded up my carrots. When you buy, I don't know if you've ever bought pre-shredded carrots from the market, but they can tend to be a little dry. These are so nice and moist because they're freshly shredded up. I'm sure once I put them in the freezer, you know, they'll freeze up, but that's okay. I'm gonna put these in. I actually think I'm gonna take out the vacuum seal bag and put these in here, because I don't know when we're gonna bake carrot muffins next. Down here, I keep talking about this Greek yogurt carrot muffins, but I also use shredded carrots, and the broccoli rice will be great in there too, for spaghetti sauce. So when we make our spaghetti sauce or pizza sauce, like I said earlier, I throw in the veggies in when it's like doing the slow cook, just to get more veggies in. That is my main goal, to get us to eat more veggies. So I'm gonna go ahead. The recipe for the muffins calls for 1 cup, but I usually double batch it. So I'm gonna put 2 cups in this bag if it'll fit. I think I can squeeze it in. And then I'll just mark them as 2 cups, and then that's a good size too when I make sauce. My carrots are not vacuum sealing, so I'm just going to put them in Ziploc bags. I'm guessing that they're not vacuum sealing because of all the juice in them. It's pulling it out, and then it just can't seal it. So I do have an older version of the Food Saver or vacuum seal type thing, so it could be that. It could totally be user error also, but I'm just going to put these in some Ziploc bags instead and freeze them that way. Let's see if this works with bell peppers. Okay, it looks like the vacuum seal worked for the bell peppers. So it's completely sealed up here, and then they look good in here. I'm gonna go ahead and put the rest of these in some vacuum seal bags, get them in the freezer. And then you can see I just did some in strips, and then I did the bottom pieces in little diced ones, just for variety. We may, as we do the strips, we may take them out and dice them too. This way I kind of have an option of which way I want to do it. And I'm just going to grab a couple handfuls and put them in. And okay, so that is it. I'm finished. I'm going to put, these are the pancakes. I just put them in parchment paper, and then you can see where I was like tearing them apart. So there's just a little bit left. I mean, it isn't much, but it's worth saving to me. So I can have these on the mornings when my kids want to have something else. And I say me because I've already done the macros on this, and my kids would prefer fresher ones. We do make pancakes though ahead of time. I have done that, batch cook them, and then just given them to like that. So while they would prefer it, they don't always get it. But that's going to go in the freezer. And then what I did with the leftover sweet potato shepherd pie kind of thing, it didn't really turn. The day we served it, it kind of looked like shepherd's pie because it had the topping, but then as we put it away, it all just kind of got mixed together. Can you see that? And so what I did was just go ahead and throw it in the bag because I couldn't decide if I wanted to make it into another meal. And then my oldest had actually come in to get a quick snack before he finished up doing the lawn for me. So he was like, oh, you could just serve it with rice. And I was like, yeah, we could do that. So we brainstormed a couple of ideas, and then I just wrote them on the bag itself. So it says served with rice or cauliflower rice. And then we also thought maybe you could warm it up and then put it in lettuce wraps, and it would be a good lunch meal like that. So we're gonna put it in so it's saved, and then either my husband or I or my oldest son, whoever wants to have it for lunch one day, we have another lunch prepped and ready to go, and there was no waste. I'll show you what the final fridge looks like. Okay, so our fridge is looking much better. I went ahead that we made some lemonade. We did not make lemonade. I am totally lying to you. We made jello. So that's what that juice is from. And then it just looks a little bit organized. There's some shredded cheese. And then I didn't end up peeling the eggs because my daughter had one this morning, and she mentioned that she likes to peel the hard-boiled eggs. So I just left them in the shell. They're pretty easy to peel when they're cold anyways. And then these two little blue and pink glass containers is the jello that we're making. That's the lemonade next to the iced tea, so I don't forget. And I didn't do anything to the cabbage. I just took it out of the plastic bag so that it could just sit in the fridge like that, and that's it. So it's a little tidier. Things aren't falling out at me, and we saved what we could, and I feel good about that, about not wasting where we can save. I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of our day in a second video because this video was so long. So stay tuned, and I'll put a link as soon as we get that video up of the second part of our day if you'd like to see how we finished off quite the busy day. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.